is up, everybody? It is Wednesday, January 13th, 2016. This is Radio Tokyo, and I am, of course, your host, Jonathan, and I'm here, episode expressing it to all of you exactly what Kylo Ren is and why it is matters. This was going to be done earlier today, and I completely forgot about it, mostly because I was asleep all day. Sorry about that. I was up very late last night. But yes, on the Friday show, we got into this, and as far as I know, this discussion was actually cut off of uh, the show itself, because we had an issue with getting everything together, and when it went to be edited, apparently the stream had cut off, and we didn't get the end of the show, even though we thought we did. So, as promised, I'm going to talk about Kylo Ren. Are you excited? I'm excited. Okay, here's the deal. A lot of people are upset with the character of Kylo Ren. I'm not. I think he's actually a lot better. I still like Darth Vader, but I have that is my own personal reasoning. Okay, now here's the thing. A lot of people look at the character of Kylo. I cannot talk today. A lot of people look at the character of Kylo Ren and say, "Oh, well, he's just an emo Darth Vader. He's a ripoff. He's a da 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 da." Yeah, in a lot of ways, you can make that argument about a lot of characters that you see in The Force Awakens. You could say, for example, Rey is the new Leia, and Finn is the new Han, and whatever. I'm not saying that's what those characters represent, uh, but they do have their um, characters that they can be compared to, and that's actually intentional. At least from what I know, J.J. Abrams, when he got involved in the project, decided to make a lot of characters have kind of an analog, so to speak, in The Force Awakens. So that way it will be very familiar. That's why Maz Kanata is compared to Yoda, and that's why BB-8 is the new R2, and you have comparisons made to all kinds of characters, and it's intentional. And you're supposed to look at Kylo Ren and see Darth Vader, or at least a Darth Vader wannabe. The problem is that he cannot be Darth Vader. I'm sorry, but to get into that discussion, we're going to go way back. Nearly 50 years, actually, before even Anakin Skywalker is even born. And we're going to talk about someone very important to Star Wars mythology, and that would be Emperor Palpatine, also known as Darth Sidious. Palpatine, as you know, senator from Naboo. He served under Queen Amidala, and when she became senator, he moved up and became the chancellor, and all those wonderful prequel stories that no one really gives a shit about because no one likes the prequels, even though they're actually important to the story. Hint, hint, they're very important. And the reason they're important is because this is where the comparison between Anakin Skywalker and Kylo Ren for me separates. Okay, I've said it a couple times before. I know I said this on the Friday show, but George Lucas cannot write a teenage character. He can't. Well, he could, back originally. Luke and Leia were very decently written characters, but he cannot do this anymore. He is very far past being a teenager now, and he cannot properly channel the angst. And this was shown very heavily, when Palpatine shows up. Why does it show up? Oh, well, it's pretty simple why it shows up, because there was a major character that Palpatine was that directly influenced, and that would be Mr. Anakin Skywalker. Now, without going into huge history here, Anakin, of course, was supposedly the chosen one, supposedly the one who would bring balance to the Force, but as we know, he kind of murdered 30 kids with his lightsaber and, helped bring the downfall of the Republic. But Anakin is very important here, okay? Anakin grew up as a slave, didn't ever know what freedom was. He was essentially, he was kind of talked away from his mom by Qui-Gon Jinn. wasn't so much that, I'm going to buy your freedom and your mom's freedom. It was more like, I'm going to pretend to trick somebody, and then I'm going to take you and kidnap you and indoctrinate you. That's basically what happened with Anakin. Okay, let's be realistic here. Anakin was talked away from his mother and from the person who owned him, and he was indoctrinated into the crazy religious order that is the Jedi's. But I've been over that before. That's another whole other discussion. So Anakin uh, is talked away, and Anakin winds up meeting, of course, on the way home, from Tatooine to Coruscant to be trained as a Jedi, he meets Padme. And he falls in love, even though Padme is nearly 20 years older than he is. Okay? Uh, I have no idea how long people on Naboo live, but Natalie Portman did not age while doing her role, despite the fact that Padme would have been, let's see, she would have been, I don't know, 18, 19 years old when they met. Now I realize I just said that she's 20 years older. She's not. She's more like 10, okay? Anakin Skywalker would have been about 8 or 9 when they met, and here she is, 17, 18, 19 years old, okay? So she's about a decade older, okay? So you're going to fast forward that until Anakin is a teenager. So he's about 15, so she's about 25, okay? Then we're going to fast forward that all the way to Revenge of the Sith, when Anakin is 18 or 19, same age as she was, and she's definitely not a young person anymore. Um, she's almost 30, in fact. Um, so that's basically the age difference we're looking at here. Okay, she does not age, but her character does, and that's fine. That's standard. Okay, uh, but and here's where it gets important. Padme is essentially a useless character. She is intended to be a vehicle, literally and figuratively, for the bringing about of the balance of the Force. When I say literally, I do mean Luke and Leia. Okay, she is intended to be the bearer of Luke and Leia into the universe, and she is the conduit through which Anakin brings balance. Blah 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 blah. It makes you fall asleep when you think about it. It's boring. It's useless. It's stupid bullshit. Okay, uh, and that is the flaw of her character. She really is a flawed character. When you have a character who's literally just there to be pretty and to have to have someone's babies, you don't have much going on. Now I know that Padme was shown to be kind of an action hero, but really, if you look through all the sequences, you know every scene that she is involved in episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, what point in time do you have her being a badass? One time on Geonosis. One time. There's one time that Padme is actually shown to be a genuine heroine, and that is in the Colosseum on Geonosis. After the Jedi come in, and after the Jedi, start fighting the separatist forces and everything, Padme's kind of hit or miss. Okay, that's what she is. By episode 3, she is full on senator. She's, well, we can't go to war with the separatists, and she's also carrying babies of Anakin Skywalker in her illegal marriage she's not supposed to be in. It's a stupid story. She's a stupid character. I'm sorry. This is nothing against George Lucas for his designs. This is nothing against Natalie Portman for her portrayal of the character. It's just that Padme is a useless character in this. Now, have I firmly established the ground on which I'm standing at? Probably, probably not. But I'm going to go back for a second and talk about Palpatine, because Palpatine is actually more important. Okay, Palpatine is the character that we need to keep an eye out for. If you completely drop the stupid Padme idea of having Anakin fall in love and, oh, that love's being ripped away from him. No, you had that in his mother, Shmi Skywalker. Okay, his mother was taken away from him twice. Well, actually, first time he was taken away from her, uh, and then the second time he comes back to Tatooine to visit, and lo and behold, she's been kidnapped by Sand People, and he goes into a rage and murders them all, and then she dies in his arms. Okay, so his mother at first was separated from him, and then she dies. Okay, that's important. That is a very, very important thing for young Anakin to have gone through. Okay, separation from the mother, and then the death of the mother. That's something that everybody has to face because everyone has a mom. Now you may not know your mom, and that's understandable if you don't. But by and large, pretty much everyone in the world has known their mother and then loses their mother at some point in time. Okay, that's very important. Not everyone will get married. Not everyone will have kids. So relating everyone, to Anakin and Padme is a little bit more different. Okay, if the emphasis has been put on Shmi Skywalker, uh, her removal from Anakin's life and then her death, that would have been more of a drive for Anakin. Okay, but instead, what we have is we have to take a story as he is. Okay, now please understand, I am trying to set up all the background here for Kylo Ren, just so that the arc, the full arc between Anakin and Kylo can be perceived before I destroy all the stupidity. Okay, so just keep bearing with me. Okay, um, Palpatine comes in, and Palpatine, as we know, he's totally evil. He's a Sith, the Lord. He sees what's going on with Padme and Anakin for exactly what it is. They're young people. They're in love. They want to buck the tradition of the Jedi and be low. That is fine, and he's okay with that. He encourages it, but more so, he understands that Anakin is processing all of these feelings from the death of his mother, and that's actually where Padme's, I'm sorry, Palpatine's tendrils start to sink into Anakin. Okay, he realizes, like I said, Anakin is going through all this all this trouble, and Anakin has a continual sense of loss. So he steps in and he's like, "Hey, the Jedi won't ever tell you the story of the Sith, but I will." Emperor laugh, whatever. Okay. So he tells him the story of Darth Plagueis the Wise, who was a Sith Lord so powerful that he was able to bring back the dead and to make himself immortal. Well, his apprentice killed him after he learned the ability and kind of vanished. Okay, we all know that Sidious was, the Palpatine is Sidious, and Sidious was apprenticed to Darth Plagueis. Okay, we all know this. Okay, he tells Anakin that there are Force abilities that will allow him essentially to bring back the dead. Okay, well that means Anakin gets his mom back. That means Anakin can get Padme if she ever dies. Everyone he's ever loved can just all come back. It's all magical and wonderful. Okay, Palpatine generally fucks with Anakin's mind. Okay, and through that he is able to get Anakin to do some horrible things. And namely, he's able to get him to betray the Republic. He's able to get him to betray the Jedi. He's able to get him to betray Padme, and murder a lot of people in the name of finding justice and equality and all that good happy bullshit. Okay. Now we have established, the backstory for Anakin here. Okay, we're at the point in time where Anakin changes his name. He is now Darth Vader. Okay, and as you know, the fight with Obi-Wan, where he gets his limbs cut off and he's burned, and he should have died. Sorry, but he should have died. He didn't. He gets the armor suit and he becomes Darth Vader. Okay, uh, that's all the backstory you need to understand what's about to happen. Okay, and again, completely remove Padme from this. You don't need Padme. Understand death of the mother and absentee father, and then, yeah, remove from the mother, absentee father, and then the death of the mother. Okay? That's all you need to remember. Completely ignore Padme. She's not even needed. Even for the scene where Darth Vader screams, "No!" She's not needed. Okay? Don't need Padme. Remember, removal and death, and inability to accept this. Okay? Well, I guess if you want to include Padme because Darth Vader, you know, just somehow cannot process that Palpatine has been fucking with him and has managed to kill, uh, well, allude to the death of Padme and to his children. That's fine and wonderful, but you know what? we can just go ahead and sum this up with one very simple thing, and that is Palpatine's fucking evil. Okay, he's evil. You know, he can do his maniacal laughter and whatever, and we'll get on with it because there's more important things to us. Okay, so we all know that Luke and Leia are Vader's kids. Okay, so let's look at Leia first. Okay, Leia becomes the mom. Okay, now this is years and years and years and years later. We're looking, the battle, the movie we first see Leia is Episode 4, and that's 18 years after the fall of the Republic. Okay, so we're looking at 18 years, and we're gonna fast forward another 2 for Empire Strikes Back, another 2 or so for Endor, and then the Empire falls after that. So that's that would be 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 20. That's about 25 years later. Okay, then a few years after that, she and Han finally have a kid. Okay, so Leia's the mom, and Han's the daddy, and oh wait, there's a problem with this. There's a problem with this. There's the reason I told you all to remember loss of the mother and absentee father. Okay, Anakin Skywalker does not have a daddy. Okay, he ain't got no daddy. I'm sorry. There isn't one. Period. You could ask him who's your daddy, and he'd have to say, I don't know, because I don't have one. Okay, this is important. This is very important. Okay, it is established within the Force Awakens that Han is a shitty father. He is never around. He doesn't do anything for his son. He never takes any point in his life. At any point in his life, he's never really, been a part of it. Essentially, he's there. He shows up whenever he goes away. And as Lexi pointed out on our Friday show, this, when Han dies in The Force Awakens, oops, hashtag spoilers, when Han dies, it's him being genuine, and it is him, telling his son that he's sorry. Okay, but anyway, as we know, they have a son, and that son is, of course, Ben Skywalker. Well, not Skywalker, Ben Solo. It's kind of strange to think that they have 47 different names and no one can keep track of who they are. But anyway, Ben Solo is the son, okay? Ben's Uncle Luke is, of course, the greatest Jedi ever, and he's the one who actually brings balance to the Force, and it wasn't actually Anakin Skywalker, it was actually Luke, okay? That's the whole point. If you didn't catch that from watching episode 1 through 3 and then 4 through 6, you might want to go back and watch it. Okay, Anakin essentially kills all the Jedi and makes the world in the darkness, and then you have Luke who's supposed to come around and bring the light back. Okay, so Luke's supposed to bring the balance. Okay, and that's where we get to Ben Solo and how it is that Ben Solo has been raised by his absentee mother and his absentee father. Okay, now of course Leia's not dead, but she's never around because she's always busy. Okay, so that leaves Luke. Luke. Good old happy farm boy, moisture farming Luke here. Who, by the way, in case you haven't figured it out, he is actually kind of the analog for Obi-Wan in this. Okay. Anyway, Leia and Han choose to give Luke custody of Ben to raise him and to train him to be a Jedi. And as we all know, Luke cannot do this. He fails miserably somehow, somewhere, because Ben, his nephew, wants to be more like his grandfather. He wants to be more like Vader. He wants to have all the power and all the control and everything. And this is where the better writing skills of J.J. Abrams come to play. Remember how I said that Anakin was horribly written? There's a reason why. George Lucas's stilted dialogue does not convey the story that you needed for Anakin. And as I said at the beginning of this, Anakin and Kylo are the same character, essentially. Okay, they're just a little bit removed. Different names, different circumstances. Okay, but they're both left to be raised by older people who are not their family members. Okay, Luke took care of Kylo just as Obi-Wan took care of Anakin. Okay? Uh, Ben Solo was removed from his mother, just as Anakin was removed from Shmi. Okay? Uh, Anakin did not ever have a father, and Ben essentially didn't know his father because he just wasn't around. Okay? Exact same origin, just different circumstances. Okay? The process, however, sped up. It sped up a lot uh, for Kylo Ren versus Anakin. And the reason is, to me, is because Luke was entirely incapable of training this young man how to accept the fact that his father was gone most of the time and his mother just was never around. So uh, we're gonna fast forward, through time a little bit, because there's some clearly uh, differences in time here, but we're gonna skip ahead to when Ben Solo is officially Kylo Ren. We know he has murdered all the other Jedi trainings that Luke had. Uh, Luke is in hiding, and Kylo is definitely with the bad people now. Okay, and again, this is where the writing comes into play. Kylo Ren is a much more effective version of what we should have had with Anakin. Okay, the angst is there, the anger is there, the frustration is there, the sense of loss, the sense of failure, the undeniable fact that he is disappointed to the point that he disappointed in his father to the point that he is willing to murder him. Disappointment in his mother to the fact that he's willing to destroy the government that she helped to build. His parents have failed him miserably. Uh, he has never been married, never had kids, so he's not, able to understand, this tragic sense of loss of a wife and child. Okay, and that's what Anakin had for him. But like I said, you need to remove Padme from this equation. Okay, that was just uh, that was essentially icing on the cake. The idea is that bad parentage in both instances has led to some really fucked up things in Star Wars. Okay, um, I am not blaming the fact that George Lucas could not tell a story on anyone other than him. Uh, they're his characters. He created them, and he can do whatever he wants to with them. And the prequels are fine. But when you look at it from the perspective that I've just offered you, the fact that uh, Anakin Skywalker needed to have some more tragedy. It needed to have the tragedy of his mom and his non-existent father, and the way and the environment he was raised, the violent environment that he was raised, the idea that he was being told that he can achieve anything he wants to by being powerful and everything, and having you know mystical forces around him, all this stuff. It messed with him, and it's definitely messed with Kylo Ren. It's essentially ruined this young man, and he is evil. I mean, he's become evil from the exact same things that essentially uh, made Anakin what he was. Now, I'm not saying that Darth Vader is evil. I'm actually not. I I realize he's the bad guy, and everyone wants to say, well, he's evil. He's actually not the bad guy. Anakin Skywalker had his mindset twisted and corrupted to the point that he felt that he was evil. Okay, or rather, not that he felt that he was evil. It's the fact that he felt that what he was doing was the right thing. Now we know that Ben feels that what he is doing is the right thing. Okay, but it goes one step beyond what Vader did. Vader would not have most likely killed his father if he had one. He most likely would not have killed his mother. You know, he still had that sense of humanity in him, and you see that when Luke is able, to wait, to bring him around to make him realize all the things he's done that are wrong. And you have that moment between Han and Kylo Ren where Han is appealing to him and saying, "Hey, look, whatever you've done, it's okay. We understand. We're your parents. We love you. I'll be here for you. I'll do whatever it takes. And he just gets straight up stabbed in the chest with a lightsaber. The reason that happens is because, again, the writing. You see the warping to Kylo Ren much more effectively than you do with Anakin, and and when you understand, that Kylo is pretty much evil right now, without the ability to rationalize and realize what he is doing is wrong. He's lost. He is darkness. He is, twisted and corrupted, and it's sad and it's pitiful. It really is. I actually feel very bad for Kylo Ren because just this utter sense of hopelessness and abandonment has taken him over, and it's sad. It really is. I have much more empathy for Kylo Ren as a character than I do for Darth Vader, even though they have essentially the exact same background. But really, that's all I had to say about it. I could for sure keep going because there is a lot more nuance to these stories, but I think I'm gonna leave it at that. With of course the suggestion that if you get a chance to go back and see Force Awakens and keep in mind what I've said, just understand that this is a better version of what we're supposed to. I mean, it's strange to say, and even I tried to fight against it, on our Friday show last week about how much better this is than even George Lucas's Star Wars. This is the Star Warsiest Star Wars movie we're going to get, I think, and it's beautifully done, it's beautifully crafted. But if you get a chance, go back and watch it, and keep in mind what I've said about Kylo Ren, and look at him, through the eyes that you should have seen, and that you should, by all rights, have seen Anakin. Okay, and then go back and watch the prequels and compare them, and then feel free to comment down below or comment on Facebook and tell me I'm wrong. Like, I really would welcome someone being able to prove me wrong with everything that I've offered. Just use it against me if you can. That would be cool. But anyway, Friday show's coming up. It will most likely not be Star Wars related. Probably going to have an entirely different subject come up. We should be having a guest for it, a very special guest, someone who was on our show last year. He would like to come back, so look forward to having that guest be on. Should be a good conversation, very decent conversation, much better than probably listening to me talk about Star Wars. But anyway, come back Friday. We'll be here. It'll be fun. It'll be awesome. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like this video, comment on it, share it, subscribe to the channel, and like us on Facebook. And we will talk to all of you later. Bye, everybody.